What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Justin here, aka No Good Comics. Usually No Good Comics. Today we're talking some manga. It's our new channel, No Good Manga. We're gonna talk a little One Piece here, in case you haven't seen the thumbnail already. This is the box set, the first box set that contains the first 23 volumes. We want to talk a little bit about specifically volumes 12 to 23. I mean, we could kind of go all over the place, really, but just some high level stuff. And get some thoughts out, because I've been wanting to talk to somebody about this for a while, and I haven't done any formal show or anything like that. And I have my good friend JP with me, who made me do this show. Basically, he was like, "Hey, you gotta stream." I'm just kidding. This is totally my idea. Let me bring him on right now. Go ahead, defend yourself.
I reached to the screen. I was like, "No, you will."
What's up, JP?
I am doing good. What is up, man? If I could reach to the screen and make everybody just read it so I could talk about it with more people, I would be like, yes.
That would be great. Yeah, man. It's yeah. I as I was telling you backstage, like I don't know too many other people that follow along with the One Piece stuff, as I'm very new to it myself. And so for when you even just like slightly mention like, hey, if you do anything live, like let's let me know. I'm like, oh yeah, let's do a show. Let's do it. Like we got to do something. So thanks for jumping on here with me.
I'm glad to do it. I am glad to do it because, like I said, don't know a ton of people in the community that have read this. I've been reading it for a very long time. We talked about I found it in 06. Yeah. And so, which is funny because where you're at now, where you've read through 23, which is basically where I've been doing a reread. And I'm basically in the exact same spot you are. I finished 23 today. So so I would be up to date with you. And yeah, I hadn't done a reread in a decade. It's been forever. But so it was fun. It's been fun.
Yep.
I'm trying to remember. Did you get prompted by the live action? Is that what sent you down this road, or did somebody else send you down this road?
Yeah, no, the live action. I mean, I was hearing things that this was some cool up and coming. Up and coming. It's been out for years. Up and coming anime. Commercials and stuff like that. But I never knew anything about it. Didn't know characters' names, nothing like that. And it was just the live action, and it was actually my trip to Vegas last year. One of my many trips, the one in October last year, and
one of 9.
And yeah. And I remember, I was doing some comic reading in between, and at one point I was like, oh, I'm just gonna take my phone out and see what I have. I was looking ahead to see what I could download, and I remember on Netflix that was there, the live action. So I downloaded the first 2 episodes. I put and so when I'm on the plane, killing time, I was like, let me watch one, see what it's like, and I loved it right from the beginning. And in fact, I was so bummed that I only downloaded for the first 2 episodes. I couldn't, I didn't have Wi-Fi. Yeah. So I watched these first 2 episodes, and I'm like, oh my God. I was so in the mood to watch more, learn more. Who's this Luffy character? How do I get the book? All this stuff. And I'm on a plane with another, 2.5 hours. And I'm like, well, I guess I'll go back to reading some comic books or something. But yeah, so that got me hooked. And then oddly enough, I watched only the first, was there 10 episodes altogether, right? I think for the live action.
Or 10, I don't remember yet.
I think around 10. So I watched the first 9, and I stopped because I wanted to 2 things. One, I thought I could get my wife into the show, so I was like, oh well, let me not even know how the end ends. Okay. And let me rewatch it with her. And then also I was like, I want to get it into the manga /anime and, dabble in some of that stuff. So I was, as I started reading, I was like, oh, I could knock out, read all the stuff that I've kind of already watched and see how far that takes me, which I knew was and I think you even might have mentioned it. You have a good, at least 8 or 9, chapters or whatever.
I mean, technically we're going to talk 12 through 23. I mean, basically everything before that is pretty much the first season. There's a little bit, I think 11 is mostly stuff that hasn't happened yet. But the first 10 are basically the first season, which is almost 100 chapters.
Which when you said, I think it was you or someone said that, they're like, yeah, you got 100 chapters of just reading the live action stuff. I was like, oh dang. But obviously they do read, reading wise, they read pretty quickly.
They read pretty quick, yes.
The anime can definitely drag though. I don't know if you've watched a lot of the anime.
I have watched all the way. I was completely up to date with the anime through what's called Dressrosa, um, which is at this point has been like 8 years ago, but that's like 600-700 episodes of the anime, something like
Right.
So I haven't watched in a long time. I've been thinking about watching again. The pacing on the anime at times gets a little rough, but the early stuff is pretty good, but it does get a little rough.
I know I've been watching little bits and pieces here, and there are moments that remind me of like Dragon Ball Z, which I don't know if you've ever followed that, but the anime, right. So like Dragon Ball Z, very much, they could stand there and just have thoughts in their head for like a whole episode before they throw the next punch or whatever, So it drags it out. So
times get drugged, and part of that is because they can cover. So they've basically got it down at this point. And part of the reason the anime drags is they're basically covering an issue an episode in order to not like blow past,
right,
or to catch up to him,
right?
Like and he's putting it out.
And there's fillers. There's like
they don't do so. One Piece, like if you compare it to like a Dragon Ball or Naruto or some of the other big ones, has very few fillers. What they do though is they do a big long recap at the beginning and a big long, so they have a tendency to like have a lot of redundancy in the episodes in order to not put filler in. So you don't move a lot in an episode. So that's where people get frustrated sometimes with the anime.
I could see that. Yeah.
So because they try to avoid a ton of filler. What are you doing over there, dog?
But there is some filler, right? Because I feel like there are.
There are.
Like little one-off
more early than there is now. That's more of a strategy they've done more recently.
Oh, okay.
And then they'll expand on moments that are in the manga that they'll find places in the manga where they can expand within an arc. So there'll be filler within rather than having like a full filler arc.
Okay.
Kind of thing.
Yeah,
if that makes any sense.
Yeah. Because
they'll give more detail on a fight. Like there'll be a fight will take longer because there'll be more moves and more stuff that happens in the thing. And that kind of
right. There's I forget what episode I'm on right now. I'm definitely behind on episodes as far as where I'm at compared to reading the manga. But I'm on an episode where like there's this little girl and there's like this dragon
with the old dragon thing.
Yeah. So I watched that and I'm like, did I read this? I was like, I don't remember this at all. No. Like I was thinking like I forgot something in the books. I'm like, okay, I must have missed a chapter or something.
No,
but then I started to put the pieces together.
So they have not yet got to the Grand Line. And you're
right.
Okay. Yeah.
Which I thought about actually jumping ahead a little because I want to see some of the current characters that we'll talk about tonight. Like I kind of want to see like how their characters are portrayed, their voices, like some of that stuff. I'm curious.
You're almost there. I mean, that's a pretty short filler. I want to say it's like 5 or 6 episodes.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I think I'm on like the second episode of that, but
I think it's a pretty short filler situation there. So you're not too far behind. You'll get to the red line or to the Grand Line very soon.
Yeah. Okay.
In Laboon.
Yeah. He's great. I know we've been hanging here talking. Take a quick load. I love the chats.
Are John's the only one here so far?
Yeah, he's just hanging.
Can see John. He's like way behind us. He hasn't even like read all the way through.
Yeah, he said I think he just got a hold of the fourth, 5th, 6th volume. Yeah. Which is, he's doing the 3-in-1s or whatever.
Yeah, he's doing a big 3-in-1 kind of trade. So.
Which those are nice for, as far as being new to like manga in general. Those are pretty nice as far as price goes. Saving some money and getting the full story. So
I mean, the volumes aren't too bad. I've been buying them for a very long time.
Right? So, you've been buying an individual, right?
Yeah, individual for a very, very long time. So
so I held
usually like $6-7. So
that's not too bad. So I held this up in the beginning, right? And I've showed you this before, and I'm sure you've seen it before. And it's, I've posted it a few times on my Instagram page, and that's what I'll, is if I need to pull any books out. But something that just came in the mail today, I got number 2.
Oh, nice.
So I can pick it right back up.
And take it.
This is 24 to 46.
Okay, so that takes you through.
It says Skypia and the Water 7.
Okay, so that'll take you all the way up to through Skypia, Water 7, Enislavi. Okay, So
Yeah.
that is when you get to the end of that, you'll basically be where I was when I started reading back in 06.
Oh, okay.
So that'll basically take you to where I was.
So
Oh.
I'm curious how quickly it took you, but like for a box like that, like this one, I dragged this out a little. I got it from Christmas time, this past December, but I definitely took little breaks and I wasn't fully in it the whole time. But like this one, I'm ready to like dive right in, and I feel like I could binge it in within a couple of weeks.
So when I found it and started reading, I read a lot of, for lack of a better term, so I got into manga a few years after I moved here. There's no comic book store. I'd kind of fallen out of comics. I found manga, and One Piece wasn't the earliest one. I think I started with like Naruto, and I was into like some other stuff, and then I found One Piece, but I was reading it all, binging it bootleg online, like where you could just like click through like all the like. So I read it pretty quickly. Like,
okay.
I mean, not like over like a couple of months. Like I probably got through, maybe not even quite that long, more than a couple of weeks. But I mean, there were still 400 issues or whatever. So it took me a while, but I was reading it. Like I would sit and read for like an hour, 2 hours, and cover like 50 chapters or something.
Yeah,
like
you really could. I mean, you kind of fly right through. I know I fly right through them, and I'm not the fastest reader, but for the speed I normally read, I do feel like I read these rather fast. Although I do try to slow it down if there's certain like action scenes or things like that to take a look.
You can fly through it really quickly if you really want to. So
right. Yeah. So, and that's like a part of me is, I don't want to say rushing, but like a part of me wants to get caught up because I'm just loving it. I'm in the mood for it, and I'm playing the card game, as you know, JP, and I'm seeing all these crazy characters I know nothing about.
Right. Well, there's a lot of crazy characters.
Apparently, because they already have like 7 sets out already, and they're still coming out with new cards.
The most recent chapter is 1114. So you're talking 1114 chapters.
Oh wow! Oh, so wow. I'm on. What is this? Was like 190 something, I think.
Yeah, like I think that where you get to here. What's the last one? No, 216.
216. Okay.
216 is the last chapter of volume 23. Okay. So.
And I realized I know I called
this is what we also should have had on it, like in the chat right now. We should have invited.
Oh, you're totally right. Yeah, Sheena. If anything, Sheena was the other one that had really. Yeah,
we need to get her. If we do another one, when you get through like the next arc, we'll have to.
Yeah.
Sure she comes.
Oh, definitely. Sheena's gotten me into. I have like I have all these. She got me into like a bunch of these like a few months ago, and I started to like.
I haven't read. So the funny thing with me is I read a ton of it years ago when I first got into One Piece, and at this point, I haven't read a whole lot of stuff recently. I did win her giveaway they gave, and I got started on Chainsaw Man, and then that's what I won from them, and then I set it aside, and I have not got back to it, and I need to. All my reading is behind, but
I just started that too. I mean, I read the first volume like probably a couple months ago at this point.
Yeah, I got through the first 3 volumes pretty quick, and then it kind of like I got distracted, and then I didn't get where I needed to.
Yeah. I mean, you're also reading a lot. You read a lot of stuff.
She's mocking me because I don't have any gear, and I was thinking about this today, and I don't have any One Piece gear. Like I'm gonna have to get them. Like I got Luffy. And I have some other stuff you can't see here, but like Vivi and Chopper, and then I got like some Zoro Pops, and I have some other figures that I didn't pull down because you haven't really met them yet. Well, I could have pulled like Nami down, I guess, but like the others you hadn't really pulled down. So Vivi seemed more important to this arc, so I pulled Vivi down.
Yeah, that's great, and that's going to be something else. I'm sure I'm going to go down a rabbit hole at some point. I've been looking at like the little the statues and
and they're fairly cheap. Like
they are, they are,
and there's a ton of them. So
yeah. I don't have the. Where did I put the box? I just got my wife a little Anya from Spy Family,
and that's not one. That's one I've not read. That's one of the many or several that I need to like read. The only thing I'm really up to date on, like recent. Is obviously One Piece is still coming out, so I'm still up to date on it. And then One Punch Man, I'm pretty up to date on, which I love.
Oh, you are? Okay. So that was another one I plan to read at some point. Like I would like to, I plan to read a lot. There's a lot on my list right now, but that's one of them. Death Note is another one I want to get into. Naruto.
Yeah, that's an older one.
I wanted to get into. Yeah. Jujutsu Kaisen is another one. Do you watch Demon Slayer, or have you read Demon Slayer?
I have not read Demon Slayer. See, that's one of those, like, I got out of it. And really, the only thing I stayed up to date on is One Piece. So a lot of the stuff that, like, when the big boom, like, where it seems like everybody got into manga, and like My Hero and Demon Slayer and Jujutsu and all of these ones that are more in the last, I want to say, 8 years or so.
Yeah,
I really haven't read any of them. Like, bunch of those I really haven't read.
Okay.
So I need, like, I read a ton of manga from about 06, 05, 06 to 2012, and then I really haven't read much since then.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the Demon Slayer stuff, by the way, my dad's in the chat. What's up, Dad? Family loves our hats. Yeah, my dad, he'll rock a hat. So.
He's got a One Piece tattoo.
Yeah. Dad, this is a manga that you got to check out at some point. I'll have to talk with him about the artwork and stuff. Curious his thoughts. Demon Slayer is a one where I haven't been reading. I just said to myself, like, I'm just going to watch it and, see where it goes. And I love it. I love the characters. I buy a bunch of things for it now, but I probably would read that at some point as well. But I'm learning, like, a lot of stuff, and I know we're going way off track here, but I know I'm learning. I feel like, at least for me, a lot of stuff is, a lot of them, I almost rather read the manga than watch the anime overall.
Generally, I've enjoyed the mangas more than the animes. Not to say that some of the animes aren't freaking fantastic.
No, totally. Right.
Yeah. But I, being a comic book reader, because of the nature of the way they do it over there, the manga, the book is better, the whole book is better than the show or the movie thing. But the mangas tend to be a little more focused. They tend to be, because of the way that to keep from, like we talked about filler earlier, to keep from running up to and passing where the manga is.
Right.
Like, they have to, like, finesse the way they tell the story. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I could see that. My dad said my brother Ben just turned him on to Demon Slayer. He has 2 giant books. That's awesome. I'm curious. Dad, you'll have to send me a picture later. That's cool. Yeah. And hello to Lucas.
Hey, Lucas.
Welcome. All right. You want to? If anyone watching, if you guys aren't following JP as part of my usual intro, make sure you do so. I put his information in the description below. JP's got a ton of really cool.
And Lucas is like, Wano is overrated. Justin's nowhere near Wano yet. So
I don't know what that is.
That's hard to finish not too long ago. But
this is where we're at. This is like the end of, we're on 23. So I was saying before, I named this, like, thread or this YouTube channel or this YouTube stream the Alabasta
Alabasta.
Yeah, but it's also technically the Baroque work, or at least the way they label it on here.
Like, if you look at most places, like, obviously, like, if you look the volume, it's interesting. See, when I was buying them, they didn't put these. They don't have. Does yours have actually a name of the arc on this one on 23? Yeah. See, they didn't have that when I was buying it, so that tells you how long ago it was.
Oh wow, yeah.
Like, now at 24, the next arc has a label, but they did not, like, up to the first 23 when I was buying, they did not have the arc label on them yet.
Oh man. So I have a variant. You're telling me I have a variant.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have the original.
I doubt I have, like, a first print or anything in the US kind of thing, but like a US first print, I doubt it. I don't even know. But yeah, I just have a much earlier print than what you have on some of those early ones. But yeah, it's basically, in the US, they call it, most places I see it, like, when you look at it online, it's referred to as the Alabasta arc, but for some reason they call it the Baroque Works arc. So
okay.
I think the reason they call it the Baroque Works arc or the Baroque Works saga a lot of times is because they really start it at Reverse Mountain. And so, which is volume 12, they really consider the start of it when they meet Vivi.
Right.
They consider the start of it.
Because you're not in Alabasta.
Other than Alabasta.
Yeah, because you're in. Yeah, right.
So that's why they kind of refer to it as the Broke Works arc. But
yeah.
But yeah, so basically, most people believe what you just read is going to be season 2, which there's a lot of stuff.
There is a ton of stuff.
Like, it'll be interesting to see. Like, the East Blue, there's a lot of chapters, but how they thinned it down to do a season of the live action made a lot of sense. Like, a lot of those things you could thin a lot of like the stuff with Usopp Island, and there were things that you could thin down to like make it a single season. It'll be interesting to see how they cover all of this in a season, or if they split it in half. It'll be So
well, that and like they add a little bit. They add in, at least in live action, they added story that you don't really have in the book, as far as what's the kid's name that he first saves?
Kobe.
Like, you don't, in the show, I feel like you get a bit more of like where he's at.
You have been reading like the stories in the front, right, of each of the chapters.
So kind of like
you get the
like just
so
page.
So like all that Kobe stuff, a lot of that Kobe stuff they told.
They did.
Now, it would have been the volumes before you got to these,
right?
But like they tell a lot of, like, you got to read those. Like, those things play a role later. Like, he's not doing that when he has these little side stories that he tells on the cover page.
Yeah, it's just the one page, right?
It's just the one page, but it'll go on for like 20 issues.
Okay.
Like,
so
those
I think I need to go back and look closer.
There's a Kobe one early on. Like, the first one is the buggy one, and then there's a Kobe one.
Yeah.
So that kind of gives you a lot of the Kobe stuff differently than what we see it, because you don't meet. Well, you won't meet Garp in the manga and know who he is until the end of that next box that you just got.
Oh, okay.
Like, they added Garp to East Blue mainly, but yeah, that's neither here nor there. But yeah, we don't.
Is he in the show? Is he in the live action?
Yeah, he's Garp. Grandpa.
Oh, okay. Right. Okay.
Right. Yeah, you don't meet him till much later.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
You meet.
So there are little things.
You meet Garp in the cover stories.
Yes.
If you go back and read through the cover stories,
yeah,
you'll meet Garp early on, but you don't know who he is. You don't know his relation to Luffy until much later.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. What's up, Kenneth?
Hey, Kenneth.
Hey, man. Lucas says Mr. 3 is underrated. Yeah, I found him to be. Yeah. Go ahead.
So I will tell you, like, one of the fun things about this is there's a lot of characters that are going to show up and that you don't ever see again. And then there's characters that you won't necessarily think about that play huge roles later on. That you're like, what? Like, why is it, so like, there's some characters that you've met in this volume, like in this story arc, that become super important later, that like at this point you're like, they're not important at all. So it's just fun. It's fun the way like he brings people back and he like sets up things, and
and I mean, that's what I liked about this arc, I think, or this, I guess this whole 12, 13 issues that we're talking about, is that there were so many fresh faces that kind of came into play, and to me, new faces, even compared to what I watched in the live action, which was nice, and also kind of like it sort of answered some questions for like the like the posters I might see, or kids, people with t-shirts that have Tony Chopper on it, and
so let's dig into this. So this is all like basically new stuff. Them getting to the Grand Line. You're reading this for the first time. Several of the let's talk about some of the big characters that we meet during this thing. So let's start with you just there, because Chopper is actually a Straw Hat. We get our first addition to the crew beyond the original 5, the East Blue 5.
Right.
What do you think of our walking, talking reindeer doctor as a character? I'm very curious.
I love him. He's such a wild character, and the fact that he can do. I mean, I'm like still learning him, but like that he's much bigger than what he looks like. He looks just, this cute little reindeer, most of the time. But the fact that he can like turn into a beast or a bear-sized, creature, essentially, definitely is something to me that, I like that he's strong. He can hold his own in battles. And then on the other side of it, he has like this side of him that wants to cure people, wants to help people, like, so you kind of get two sides of him, and all around, like, he's obviously easy to root for and easy to, be a main character too, or excited that he's part of the team. So yeah, I really enjoy his character, and I was waiting for him. I just didn't know he like did all the things he did as far as like, getting bigger and having as much strength as he has. The first time I ever saw him was on one of the cards, like one of the playing cards that I've been collecting, and just this cute little, reindeer.
You mean this guy? This little
yeah, it's so great. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I just got a little magnet of his, actually. So yeah. Oh, and I saw, what you mentioned with Lucas. That's what I was gonna mention earlier when I was telling you I stopped watching the live action. I actually just watched I stopped it on the 9th episode. I watched all the way through the 9th episode. I tried to get my wife into it. She wasn't really feeling it. We watched like 2 or 3. And then I was like starting to just catch up with the books and everything else. And so I was like, oh, you know what? I really need to just watch now that I know I'm past it, because that's what I want to do. I want to read all the way through and experience it in a book, the ending before I got to it. So then I went back and watched how it really went down, and I loved it. Like, I thought it was really well done, even now knowing the more heavy details in the book or whatever. I thought it was great. And to Lucas's point and your point, Smoker, I wouldn't have gotten that otherwise. I mean, I would have just like been like, who are they trying to show or whatever. So it meant a little more as a lead on, like, oh, we got this, coming up next. But it was she just says, love the action. Live action was fun, corny at times, but loved it. Yeah, I mean, look, Luffy's corny at times, so you gotta go with that.
Water Luffy is not
yeah. So other character, like another character that we get is Luffy's brother that we run into kind of midway through. So again, he's another character that I've seen as a card in the card game, the TCG game, and had no idea. I just saw this like brolic, muscular dude, and I love the interaction with the team when they first find out who he is, and they're just like, that's your brother, like like I did not picture, I pictured someone more like Luffy. So I was cracking up at that. I thought that was a really special moment, just to, he's like, wow, he's really cool. This guy is like, he's badass.
All right, so Lucas is asking about the main character that kind of drives a lot of this that we meet. Is the Princess of Alabasta. We meet Vivi. We meet her first as Miss Wednesday.
Yeah.
What did you think about Vivi and her arc through this as a character, and just how she interacts with the Straw Hats, where she fits? I'm curious. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean, the immediate thought when like we were first getting to know her, obviously she's like essentially undercover. We don't know this, her story, and so you kind of start to formulate, okay, just like another villain, another bad guy, whatever. And then as you find out like the truth and everything, and that there's so much more, deeper meaning to what she's doing and who she really is as princess. I really enjoyed her character, the way she tied into the rest of the group. And this is, spoilers if anyone hasn't figured it out by now, but like I was really hoping that she like was joining them at this point, like towards the end of this. And then and I like that she has like so much honor in her. She's tough. She's super tough. And in a lot of ways, tougher than Luffy and some of the others, as far as just her attitude on things, and wanting to make sure her people, her priorities were her people, and I respect that. I mean, she was trying to stop the fight however she could. So yeah, I mean, ultimately I thought that the character, the character herself, Vivi's really a great character, and I'd be curious to see, who, assuming they get somebody to play her, or if they go in that direction, who they would even,
So I've seen the casting announcement, and they are going to try to go, so one of the things, obviously the way they're drawn and everything else, it's a manga, but like all the characters are basically based on, like, a lot of the islands are based on cultures. Alabasta is very much based on Egypt.
Okay, right.
And so the rumor I've heard is they are going to go middle, like they are looking for Middle Eastern,
Cool.
an actress from Middle Eastern to kind of descent. So
Yeah.
to be kind of true to the Alabasta kind of thing, which is,
Yeah, that makes sense.
So that would be, so I've heard that there's a casting call basically for that, and so everybody's like, "Well, it's Vivi."
Right, right.
They see Middle Eastern, it's like,
Yeah.
"Oh yeah, Vivi."
Yeah. Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see who they get. I mean, I think they did a fantastic job with the original casting, but
Yeah, same.
So yeah. So what did you think of this? So yeah, we'll skip to the end here. We'll skip to the end. So what did you think of this moment?
Oh, so powerful. This was so like you like it. I was in I was talking to my other buddy Craig before about it too, and or was it you that mentioned? No, I think it's Craig mentioned like the idea of like a tattoo of some sort and getting like the X or whatever. But yeah, like it was such a special moment because they went through this together, and obviously, for those who like didn't know or if you're watching or whatever, like having to get the X to be able to confirm that you are one of the original team members because of the shenanigans that what's his name? Mr. Two was playing, which he like. I'm still a little confused by him because like he helps him in the end, but he was like a villain, and he kind of played two sides, but then like Croc kind of kicked him to the curb.
He's Mr. Two. He can go any way he wants.
Right.
And a friend, and so
like even the very end, was it like? I mean, he helps him, but like I guess that was the main confirmation. But even then, I was like, it's a weird guy. Like, can you trust him? But I mean, ultimately, I liked him, and yeah, that moment there was so powerful. Just to not say a word at the very end, as there's
but make sure she knows. Yeah, it's a great moment. It's a great way to end. I will tell you that there is like when you get into 24, there's a little bit of continued like a very short little bit of wrap up still.
Okay,
but you've seen the main thing, like everything that like you've seen the end. There's still a little bit of like follow up stuff here.
Sure, yeah.
And we'll get the bounty posters will bounce around. Everybody gets to see the new bounty posters, and there's some of that stuff too. So
yep. And I think that was right. We got a little bit of that at the very end of this one. Was just
Smoker and Tasigi saw the the guard saw the Egram and the leader saw the posters. Yeah,
that's right.
So, so what else stands out to this thing?
We gotta talk about Sir Crocodile.
So what do you think of our big bad?
He was awesome. I think that this guy, he seemed impossible to beat, and which I liked. Like I liked that he, like at least in comparison to Luffy, like just the one-on-one battle. And I forget the volume, but like their first battle when Luffy like he loses
20,
for the first time.
Yeah.
Well, and he loses for the first time. Like that was huge. I thought that was a really big moment to see Luffy just kind of get put in his place by this guy who we were learning, but like he just seemed unstoppable. He's like a god at this point. And granted, we've watched stuff before this with like Arlong and what Luffy has had to do to defeat these guys who seem stronger or seem better or whatever, and and Luffy kind of figures his way out. But this was the first time where I feel like he truly got defeated, and buried, obviously. Before
we've now seen at this point, you've now seen like there's the three types of devil fruits, right? There's the
maybe more than that at this point.
Three classes of devil fruits. So put that. There's the Zoans, which are like Chopper and Dalton, where you can turn into an animal. Hell, like you have the animal human hybrid form, like you have these different forms, and then you have what are Paramecias, which like Luffy's supposed the rubber fruit and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then you have like the Logias, which is Smoker and Ace and Crocodile, where they can literally turn themselves into the thing that their power is.
Yeah.
So they're pretty at this stage for you. Like this stage, they're like all but unstoppable because it's like, how do you hit him?
Right. Yeah, when he was turned into sand, I'm like, he's like throwing, and he even says he's like, you can throw as many punches till you're blue in the face, buddy, but it's clearly not going to do anything to me. And then he literally drowns him in the sand or whatever. Like, reading that, or like, I can't wait to watch that because I want to see how they portray that in the anime and how those characters kind of interact, because I can't even, I mean, I have like a picture of how Croc sounds, but even that is maybe very different than what the anime.
Be interesting to see. Like, there's
yeah,
Crocodile is a very popular villain to this day.
Okay.
One Piece crap. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Like, I liked him. Like, I mean, obviously he's a bad guy, but his design, his attitude, his goal, like he's, he wants to rule, and he did a lot of trickery in order to do all this, including have all these henchmen, work under him and work for him. Like,
and he's one step ahead. Like, the whole thing, he's got, like, when they find the bomb at the end, like, he got a backup. Like, he's got a backup to his backup to his backup.
He's a smart guy. Like, he's not, he's not a pushover, kind of dum-dum or whatever, which, I'm sure there's others like that. But, so yeah, and I do, like I said before, like, I like his ability, his actual ability, like what he can do with sand and everything else. But then on the flip side, I love the creativity of how Luffy gets him, and finding out about liquid and using blood and all these other things to like make him punchable. And he's like, oh crap, so I thought that was really great too. Overall, definitely. I mean, I know I have a long way to go, but like, definitely easily one of my favorite character villains that we've come across so far, and everything else. So yeah, to me, like, that was just a moment where it really did feel like, what's left? Like, Luffy, how can he get over this, or how can any of the guy,
anybody get past that?
Yeah. So like, I was almost thinking like, oh, would his brother come in and do something, or like, is he going to get an assist from somebody, because I'm like, even if he gets better, which I know he gets, pulled out within that same chapter at the end,
it will help, but
but even then I'm like, okay, then he's just going to return, he's going to get beaten. And I love, and now this is like just generally speaking too, but I love all the, they've been doing this throughout. I love how food driven Luffy is throughout all this stuff. It is my like, he's just, and it's just me, it's just more of like why I love Luffy, and why everybody loves Luffy, and for who he is. But like, he's such a kid, and he's so like silly, and we used the word corny before with Sheena in the chat, like, just like, like, even during that big epic battle and everything ends afterwards, and the whole team's like, knocked out, and they're like, no, leave him alone, like, they need time to rest, and he's like poisoned too, and he finally wakes up, and he's just like, what a great nap, and then they're like, dude, like, they're all like concerned for him. There's like, it's like almost like hospital vibes, like people are waiting for him, checking on him, and he's like, oh, what are you guys doing here? And they're like, dude, you know how many days you've been out for? He's like, what days? And he's like, 3 days, and he goes, 3 days, that's 15 meals. And Usopp's like, yep, and he's calculating everything as 5 meals a day. Sounds like Luffy is back. I was cracking up with that. I thought that was so great. And what's the I forget which one it was, but the cover where he's like really got a really big belly. Which is it? 14, 15? He's like, 13, where he's like roaming around.
When he's at Whiskey Peak. Food,
this was a great chapter too, the whole Whiskey Peak thing. I forgot about that. Just seeing more. This is a guy too I wanted to talk about. Is this Mr. 5? I think
Mr. 5,
yeah. So like, even he, I thought was, at first I thought he was like the guy. I know he's number 5, but like, he seemed like really badass too, and he seemed in control.
Well, until so you meet Mr. 5 and Miss Valentine, and they appear like they're going to be very powerful. And then Luffy and Zoro, like, what did you think of the Luffy Zoro fight, and how they just like dismissed them? Like, they just beat the crap out of him without even trying.
Yeah, I was like, oh, okay. This was, I was totally faked out by it. Like, I thought it was going to be much bigger of a challenge, much bigger of a battle than what we kind of got. And it would definitely threw me off. And again, like, I know, like, assuming with the numbers, like, okay, maybe they're, these guys get easier. They're supposed to get harder as they go down in numbers or whatever.
No.
The other one was, I think it was Mr. One. Is he the one that turns into a blade?
His body is basically a blade. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, he was cool too. Like I thought that was and obviously perfect for a one-on-one with Zoro towards the end, battling it out and Zoro doing his thing. So yeah, I liked. I mean, even how you actually, I liked when you broke down. I think it was like 22 or 21 or whatever. It was the one where all three of them. There's basically three fights.
The three fights, which is
in
like
that
21,
volume,
I think. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was great too. Like it was pieced together real easy. Like just as far as like you knew what you were reading and following along with, and you just get time with each of the characters, and they all, they all like struggle in their own way, and they come out of it in their own way, and they figure it out. And obviously Nami, with the climate baton and all, and the weapon that Usopp had given her.
He doesn't even understand what he's made. Yeah,
right. And it's like got instructions for like a birthday party. That's so great. She's like, and hiya, and then like flowers come out of it, and like it's like a magician's wand.
And then she spikes it on the ground, and yeah. I mean, it's so perfect. I so want that. I don't know that they'll do that in the live action, really,
right.
But I so want that.
Right.
I love that whole sequence where she's fighting Miss Doublefinger.
Yeah, that was great. She was another one. Miss Doublefinger is someone who I knew of because of the cards, some of the games that I had. So I was like, oh, when I got to this part in the books, I was like, all right, like it's kind of cool. I know you mentioned like even as a, like, oh, you're spoiling, there's so many things like I'm spoiling as I'm like playing this game.
You're not, I would give you a hard time.
No, I know, and I know you are. Like and that's just it. Like I know it's like it's kind of cool, like on the flip side, where I'm running into characters in the book now that I already know, but I don't have any context to any of them. Right. So I'm like, oh, okay, so she's a villain, or oh, this person is a good guy, or whatever. So it's kind of cool to like connect things as I go later, or it's kind of opposite of, I guess, how you would do it. But yeah, like, and then the brother, that was, just finding out more about him, because I have a bunch of, he has a bunch of cards. And I was wondering why he was like special, or
why there were so many of his.
Yeah,
he's a very popular character.
Right.
Very popular character. So.
Even Lucas pointing out Nico Robin. So
yeah, what do you think of All Sunday, Nico Robin? What do you think of her?
Yeah, so like, her story arc's still going, right? Or something's still going on with her because she helps Luffy, and I guess it's more for her own situation, because really at the end of the day, Croc was his own guy. He really didn't have friends, right? There was no one that was like truly loyal in that they wanted to be loyal. So like I kind of learned that with even her as we get her
she like from the beginning, like she appears to be helping them sort of the whole way. She offers them the fastest route to Alabasta.
That's right. Sprinkling hints.
Yeah, she saves Luffy after his first fight.
That was the biggest thing for me.
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
And then at the end, she sort of betrayed, like her and Croc get into a fight, which
Yep.
So there's a little bit more. Like there's going to be like that's part of what you haven't read yet. Like get a little bit of context to that finale that we didn't see yet.
I was wondering, because I'm like, oh, like they didn't actually show, like go into
to you get a little context to what fully happened after Luffy beat Croc in the underground that you haven't seen yet. So there's a little bit of context there. So what do you think of Robin? I'm very curious. Like,
from what I know,
from age 8 has had a $79 million bounty. Like, what do you think? What do you think going on there?
Her powers seem insane. Like, she can just, the fact that she has, what is she can have like arms come out of any set of shoulders, it almost seemed like, right? Like, did I understand that right? That she's
I don't know if they've completely explained it at this stage. I can't remember, even though I just reread this, I don't remember if they completely explain it, but she's basically got the flower fruit is what they're calling it. She can like basically grow an arm anywhere she can grow, like later you'll see her like she'll grow an eye somewhere so she can see things where she's not at, or she'll grow an ear so she can hear. So she's like basically that's her power is like, she's basically it's like she grabs people like where they can't expect her to. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So I feel like she's, I mean, definitely dangerous. She used her powers even to, kind of help get Luffy out of the sand. But so that just spoke a lot to me though. Like I'm like, all right, so she's saving Luffy. She's obviously been helping them along the way. Does she have her own agenda and I feel like I get a little bit of an understanding at the end because of how Croc treated her, and he was basically like, you're nothing to me if you're not going to help, or if you're not doing this, like like he just wrote off anybody almost, like he was like Joker in that sense. So I thought maybe she was partially helping Luffy because she felt he's this guy that could beat Croc to kind of get her.
There's a scene like she says after Luffy loses the first time.
Yeah.
She asks him about his name, like because he's Monkey D. Luffy. She asked him about. So did you catch that?
Oh yes, yeah. So because she said something about the D, like the letter D.
Yeah.
Yes, I did. I do remember a brief moment of that, and all I could think of is either the relationship, and again, knowing a little bit about that. There's a grandpa down the road, of a character, and finding out about his brother. Like, I'm wondering if he is related to, I don't know, someone a bigger character down the road, or what that means, or what it was a sprinkle that I kind of just read through, but I do remember that she does.
All I will say is it's just something that you need to mark down.
Okay. Got it. Yeah.
The D, there's something going on with the D.
Yeah. Which I did wonder, because again, as I've seen other characters, just again, thanks to the cards, I've seen the D, lettering used in other names with some of the characters that I've again with some of the cards. So I thought I grabbed my card, but I didn't. But yeah, so I don't know. I'll pay attention to that as I move forward here. But I'm hoping that like I assume ends up being like a good person, or that she's a positive character. Yeah. Keep reading.
I will say that her role is not finished. Let's just
right. So the other one you mentioned, like all these different types of the fruit, the devil fruit. Yeah. I was cracking up at the one guy who ate what's it called, the munch fruit.
Oh yeah, the
king. Yeah. Oh yeah. He was like the fake. Yeah. He was like he ran the country. He was
a very bad king. Yeah. We get a very different view of kings in this. We see Walpole, and then we see how Vivi and then her father try to lead. Yes.
Right. Yeah. I was just laughing at and I'm
ridiculous. There's some really ridiculous.
Really ridiculous.
Yeah.
He's just like eating guns and eating like metal, and like I'm like, well, like, this is different. Like, and he becomes this like big tank type of thing or whatever. Just fun. It's a lot of just fun stuff that they're throwing in here.
Let's see what do we skip by? So, like, there's a lot of fun moments for different characters as we go through here. Like, if we go back to the beginning, what did you think of Luffy and Laboon? What did you think of Laboon's story?
That was great. I thought Laboon was great, and that's another one that I saw the character, didn't know anything about, didn't know that it had like this like nice little story, and his family, or it was a family that like would visit him, and he's waiting for them to return or whatever. I thought that was a nice little kind of a side story, right, in a way. Little story arc. I assume he'll come back, or we'll learn more about that down the road, but
potentially.
Everything eventually.
There's only like 1,200 chapters and we're not done yet, so there's a lot of stuff that comes back around.
Oh yeah, that's what I wanted to see. I wanted to see when 12, where that put us for 12 chapter. Oh, okay, so like 100, 102, 101. So basically it was like 101 to 216 is what this volume 12 to 23 kind of cover.
So you're basically getting about 9 like chapters per volume.
Okay.
Approximately.
Yeah.
So some of them are a little shorter. or longer or whatever. But
Oh yeah.
basically you get about, so yeah, we're like 105. What's the last issue in volume 105 is like, where we got? Where's it? Oh, I just went past it. I know it's volume 105 is 1065. So you're talking about like, yeah.
Dang.
So
there's the Munch Bunch guy there.
Munch guy, yeah. What do you think of the Giants?
Oh yeah, I forgot about the Giants. That was great too.
Dory and Brokey.
Yeah, and like, so what? It's like the one gets poisoned, and again, this is all the Baroque's works, behind the scenes, and they've been fighting for what, hundreds of years or
100 years,
yeah. And they're just like, it's all about honor at that point, and they wake up and do the same thing over and over, but they have like pretty much this respect for each other, and no one actually kills the other, and then one gets poisoned, the other one wants, like, even though he gets poisoned, he wants to stick to their routine,
their code,
like all this other stuff. And so it's a cool little side, like, and I see now, like, I see more and more like what you and others say about, like, yeah, One Piece is just like a pirate story that gets sidetracked a million times, like, because that's what this was just like, oh, we got to stop and help these giants, like they're being like taken advantage of, and one was poisoned, and
So the one thing I will give you that's not really a spoiler is, like, one of the things as you get into this is you're going to realize is Oda, who's the writer here, like, we're following the Straw Hats, but he's building a world, like he's building a world. So none of this is truly side in terms of, it's all like information that helps you understand other things that are going on in the world, even if you never see those characters or things again. Like, giants might be important later, and and like there's always going to be, like, you're getting introduced to their culture, and so like all of it is like, they go on all these fun side trips. Like, you're about to go, like, the next big arc, a lot of people think it's like, it's a complete side thing, and like, but there's so much in it that is relevant to things that happen later that, like, you get introduced to through it, even though
so it's relevant in a way.
It seems like as you read through it, you're going to be like, yeah, we went on a side quest. Like, we're, we went down to like a 100 chapter side quest here. Like, but it's all like, it all pulls back together. He does such a good job of like foreshadowing stuff and like dropping hints of things that are going to be important later. It's a fun ride. So just, my recommendation is just enjoy the ride.
And that's, and I forgot, like, so I was taking some notes of and I got to make sure to keep up with this. I had just like saved some notes about every volume that I was reading, and I started to like do it less like towards the end of this, but like, because I was just like binging.
So what are some of the things that jump out at you? What are the things you want to talk about?
I'm just looking back at like, I even like dated some of this stuff. So like back on like March 31st is says, let's see, the Giants tell the crew to go straight, and they go straight through a giant whale, and afterwards they seem to be on
giant goldfish,
more goldfish, and then is that
so here's the first of the fun things. I don't know if you caught. So if you go back to Usopp, the stories Usopp tells Kaya, and one of them is about a giant goldfish that he landed. Its poop was so big he thought it was an island.
Yes.
And then we see the island eater goldfish that the Giants are talking about. Its poop is so big they thought it was an island. That the Giants thought it was
I didn't even connect that.
It was Usopp's lies becoming the truth.
Oh, okay.
So I'm just going to tell you, like, when Usopp tells lies, pay attention.
Okay.
I'm just gonna tell you, like,
holy crap.
Usopp's lies have a tendency to like come back around. That's all I'm gonna say. Noted.
That's funny. That story stands out to me because I remember watching the live action, and they covered it in that, and then in the book. I'll just scroll into, like, some of this is like really choppy what I had kind of written. Like, there's just parts about Nami getting a fever for a little while.
Oh, the great Dr. Correa. Yes.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
What did you think of her? What did you think of Chopper's backstory? Like,
Thought it was great. Like, I was wondering, you know, you have this old guy, or is it a guy?
Haralook? That's
Yeah,
how I pronounce it. I don't know if that's the proper.
I didn't know. Yeah, no. But that, yeah. So, Hairlook, is that what you said?
Haralook is how I pronounce it, but yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, like I like that, and that was almost like a full chapter. I realized that you get this,
There's multiple. Yeah, it goes for a while.
or volume, I should say. But yeah, like a good 3 or 4 chapters back to back. But yeah, like just getting to know more of the background of that. Like I like a lot of it. A lot of it ends up being very heartfelt, where you almost don't see it coming, or you kind of just like you think these are just some wacky side stories, or you know, pieces of information about certain
I will
characters.
tell you. Well, like you've gotten at this point, you've gotten like Sanji's backstory a little bit. You got,
Right.
you got a little bit of
Nami,
You got Nami's backstory.
yeah, the sister.
Oda loves a good backstory.
Yeah,
Let me tell you, like
he goes deep. He goes deep. I mean, you
and
literally
he likes to
chapters.
reach in and make it hurt. So,
But I like that. I mean, I mean, it's meaningful, right? I mean, I
yeah.
like that it's that it has, these end up being really emotional stories, or they hit hard in one way, shape, or form. And I just feel like you connect so much more now with the character, even better. So,
did you have an idea of where they come from?
Right. Yeah, and just like they're how they mean, like what they believe in, and that's, I think, again, part of why I like Tony Chopper so much. What was the other thing? One of the chapters I really liked, I had written down chapter 122. This was volume 14. Is the whole scene with Mr. 3 and the cake, or the icing to the cake,
Yeah.
and the team is like, well, they're like poisoned or whatever, they couldn't move, and then
they were locked in because of the wax. Yeah.
and then the wax. And like Zoro was like ready to chop his own leg off in order to like get free and do what he has to do. I just remember being so captivated by that whole, set of sequences, because they looked very much doom and gloom as well for majority of the team. And I think, is that when, I'm trying to think where Luffy was at that time.
That was that was Miss Golden Week was like messing with his emotions. Like she was the color traps and like,
you
can only attack the spot, and then made him calm, and like, and he was drinking the tea, and you can see him like, because he's like,
that's right.
Like Luffy's weakness is his mind. I mean, it's like, he's not he's easily fooled. He's not the sharpest.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. A little naive. Yeah.
And yeah. Well, I love, like, the best part of that is he was going to cut his legs off to fight.
Right.
Then when he doesn't, he realizes that Luffy's there and they're probably going to get saved. Then he like makes the pose for like the statue.
Oh yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, that was great. God, there was so many great, funny Luffy moments where they get so frustrated with him. And I'll have to go back and find I know I wrote some of them down. There was even a moment, and this is going to the anime side of things. I don't know if it was in the books. It might have been a side thing. I don't even remember the context, but basically Luffy and Nami are like walking in the woods or something, and there's this massive they have to get like from one cliff side to the other cliff side, and Luffy basically goes, "Oh, I'll take care of this," and he goes, "Gum, and then he's like, "Extension bridge," and he like reaches. It's like a real casual thing.
Oh, this must be in the anime. That's in the anime. That must be in the anime.
This is in the anime. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I don't know if I don't remember it being in the book, but just as an example of like little funny things that I pick up on Luffy, and what that you almost don't expect. Like, I don't know, I thought that was really really clever. But there's definitely a lot of stuff in throughout all this that just had me cracking up for who he is, just as a whole. There was another part I wanted to mention. Tashigi. The character Tashigi. So I find her really interesting too. The fact that Roronoa Zoro keeps like he's like, you remind me of someone
Looks
I
like
used to
Karina.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like getting that flashback, and she's also, you know, very much a swordsmith and all this other stuff that with what she does. But she's working with the
With the
Marines. Which,
Marines.
yeah, like I was like, oh, is she gonna join them? Like when she first got into, she's another character I knew of just because of the card game, and she comes off as like a good, you know, a good person and like, you know, someone you'd want to root for. And then again, she's a Marine, and that doesn't mean they're all bad, but like, you just think, oh, is she gonna be an enemy this whole time? She's, you know, she works under Smoker, and you know, Smoker's kind of a hard ass in his own
Yeah,
way.
but is he a bad? I mean, he's a hard ass, but
Yeah, but he's not. Yeah. Yeah, he and I feel like we still didn't get a ton from Smoker in these 12 chapters, even though I feel like he was pretty relevant throughout a lot of it.
Right.
And for the hints that the live action dropped and stuff like that, like I mean, I look forward, I would, and I hope that they see what they do with it or whatever. But his powers even seem, you know, really cool too. And I like where he even first sees or meets Luffy, and he's just like, you know, I think it's like Luffy was like, hey, excuse me, like he was like looking for something else, and he's like, oh, sure, kid, like, you know, it's over there or whatever. And then later finds out that that's the guy he's like after this, you know,
Yeah, he's after this criminal and
deadly, pirate,
yeah.
you know, like he's like, that's the guy. I just love the reaction for everybody. Everyone's like, who's this little dweeb, and who am I supposed to fight? You know, who am I going after? And it turns out like it's Luffy every time. So good. So yeah, but yeah, Tashigi, I'm interested in more of her story arc. If I assume there is going to be more with her. You know, if they end up catching up to them or whatever. I know they're kind of separated at this point now. But I was wondering if there was more there with Zoro, like Zoro and her, or you know, I don't know.
I don't know. You have to keep reading.
Yep, that's the theme of the night. Keep reading.
You only got 900 chapters or so to be caught up.
See, I'm out of the 400. I'm out of the 4-digit numbers now. I'm down to three digits. 900
you're something, and you're at 216, and it's at like 1114. So yeah, you're down to 900 chapters to be caught up.
So let me ask you this: did you say are you currently caught up with the anime as well?
I am not caught up with the anime.
Okay.
I have not watched the anime regularly for a long time. I've been debating on starting back on the anime, and I'm debating on whether I pick up where I left off or if I just start back at the beginning and just eventually catch up. Like,
it just takes so much time.
Yeah, it does. It definitely does. So, I read originally through when I started in like 06, and I quickly picked up the anime and have watched it once I started really putting them out like in English. And then I end up like at this point I never watch the English. I usually just watch the sub, like because I just got used to it and I don't mind it. And so I was watching both. Like I have like
so many people tell me to watch the sub. And I haven't.
I have a bunch of the DVDs.
Oh wow, nice.
Like when they were first putting them out.
Oh my gosh.
So I have through like collection 18, which takes me through what are they? Gets us through like episode. Doesn't actually say on here. Should say.
How many discs?
A lot.
Come in like one. No, like how many come in like
one? This one, so like that first one has fewer. These collect more. Like so this is like this gets me through 400 and some odd 433.
Oh wow, okay.
Actually, so there's 4 discs in here, so this actually gets me through 445. That first one I showed you only has 2 discs in it. This one I started buying the bigger collections later, waiting for the bigger collections, but I got super far behind on that. So I stopped buying the DVDs a long time ago. I own in the DVDs and watching, but I haven't watched since the end of Dressrosa on a regular basis, and that's been a long time ago now.
Right. Well, and that I know Netflix has a deal right now because they have a lot of One Piece.
They have about through where I own.
Okay, I'll say they don't have everything though. I don't think.
Like if you want to watch the whole thing, Crunchyroll is probably your best.
And that's what I bought. I ended up signing up for Crunchyroll just because of the other stuff too, like Demon Slayer and Spy Family, like some of those other things. Even though Demon Slayer technically is also on Netflix too. But yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at with that.
But I mean, you can get 400 episodes before you have to buy Crunchyroll if you're already.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah, that's true. As of right now, I signed up for that, and I also signed up subscription for the Shonen Jump app.
Nice.
Which is like the digital side.
So you can read all the way then.
Yeah. So because I got that, and I was like, well, do I want to keep buying the physical books, or do I want to do it this way? I mean, you know me, I certainly am usually a fan. I'm usually a fan of reading the digital stuff for comic books. So I wouldn't have any problem reading manga that way. But there's something about, and this is me being a romantic fan right now, but just wanting to own every like box set, because these the box sets are just great.
And the box sets are these. They're just like but you can buy a bunch at a time.
Yeah, right. And it is like the best. I was doing math, but like it does make like mathematically
makes the most sense.
Makes the most sense. Yeah. And I like that it does come in the nice box. It comes with like a cool poster. It also comes with this additional. I was going to ask you about this. The Romance Dawn. This Romance Dawn like thin book.
Okay.
Like, if you've ever seen that.
I don't know. Maybe depends on what's in it. I don't remember.
It says Ahoy Me can't get enough of the pirate adventure. Ever wonder what Oda Sensei was dreaming up before One Piece began?
Okay.
These next pages are the prototype version of One Piece.
Yeah, there's a prototype chapter.
Yeah.
Where he gets the hat comes from Grandpa.
It's just like
there's a prototype version, and then Nami's story is a little different, and so you should read it. It's fun. Does that include like cool. Wanted?
The artwork's a little different.
Yeah.
What did you say?
Does it just include Romance Dawn? Is that the only thing in there?
Yeah. It's a really thin. It's a really skinny book. Yeah. It's not much to it.
So that's cool. No, that's good. I've read that. I don't own that one. I have read that, but I don't own it.
Okay. And the only reason I even know the title Romance Dawn is because of one of the card sets that had come out. Well, technically, the first issue is still called Romance. I think like the first volume is Romance Dawn. Oh, okay.
Oh, my volume's out of order, but yeah. So the first volume, the title of the first volume is Romance Dawn.
Oh yeah, okay. Oh yeah, right.
So,
yep.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, that's great. Oh, yours is different. Wait, let me see the front of that.
I told you they're old. They're old versions.
Oh yeah. Mine doesn't actually say Romance Dawn on the front. It just has blank.
See, so like your 23. Does your 23 say Vivi's Adventure, or does it just say Brokeworks?
Where's my 23? It doesn't say anything. Oh yeah, it just says Brokeworks. Sorry, just says Brokeworks.
See, like when I was buying them originally, they were giving a title to the volume.
Right.
So all of them through 23 have a. I don't know if it stops once we get to 24. When they start labeling them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that stops when it gets to 24. When I start getting the saga title of Skypiea, like when you get to like 24, you get the Skypiea title, and you get rid of the volume title.
The little title, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I have to see. Well, yeah, I gotta open the new one, but yeah, when I open that, I'll see.
Yeah.
By the way, another thing I wanted to point out with some of this stuff, and I know we're over an hour here, but
we're just talking.
Yeah, we these splash pages I thought are awesome.
Yeah,
and are like this is his artwork too, or is this supposed to be? Oh, okay. Because it's like, I like that it's like a way more detailed version of like.
Yeah, a lot of those you can find in color. Like you'll see them, versions of them on the back of the book.
Oh yes, yeah, like a smaller version, or hang on, let me search that there. Oh yeah, okay.
So you can find them in color a lot of times, and he has some books out there like the color walks.
Yeah,
where he'll do. So like if you look at them online, like a lot of times those front pages, those big splash pages, like are in color online. Like if you look at them and stuff.
Oh, okay.
And like the color walk books have a lot of that kind of stuff in color, and then it also has some like bonus stuff and that kind of thing.
Oh, that's cool.
So
Are those they're not like this, or are they like art books, or they're like
they're like
or are they
sketchbook,
oversized
art book kind of things. Like they're a little bigger. I don't own any of them. I've seen them, but like
yeah. I feel like I've seen stuff like that, not for One Piece though, like for Demon Slayer or something. I don't know, maybe it's something similar. But yeah, that's cool. So yeah, I just like that they gave that. It's definitely like a different perspective of what they look like, the detail that is given in some of those cool spread pages. See if I can find this other one. Yeah, this one too here with the big dog. This was and this was from 17. And there's the
and you can see that on the back in color.
Yeah. So I don't think I ever realized that whatever I find inside, I gotta just look at the back as well to see the connection between the two.
Well, one of them, like, depends on how many splashes. Sometimes you'll get 2 splashes in a book.
Oh, true.
Yeah, but yeah, like you get you get these guys, and then
yeah.
So yeah, there are a lot of cool. The splash pages are very popular. Like when he does the big splash. So
yeah, it's just a different art style that it's to give you a little different perspective or whatever. Trying to think if there was anyone else I wanted to talk about. I know like the King and Pell. Is it Pell?
Pell's the Falcon.
Pell, yeah, okay. He obviously played a big role at the end and pulling the bomb away and everything else, and even that was emotional because he talked. Even that you get a little flashback, right? And you see him, watching her grow up and everything, and just the connection he has to the family and how he's worked with, the King, his whole life essentially, and all that stuff. So, like he knows how to just,
knows how to tug at the heartstrings a little bit.
Yes, yeah. You just care about everybody, and as you should, because this is all like, emotional stuff. I forgot they had the bird. His name Karu, the bird.
I love Karu. Karu, yeah.
Karu and the squadron. This was squadron,
yes.
Yeah. The squadron leader. Is it Karu? Is that how you say it?
I say it Karu. I don't remember. Okay. It's been a while since I've watched the anime to remember how they pronounce it. But yeah.
The Supersonic Duck Squadron. This, what this reminded me, JP, of is some of the Black Hammer Squadron stuff that like the teams, like the corny teams or whatever. But yeah, they were cute, just having them be part of this stuff.
I love Karu throughout the whole thing, where it's like looking for him on Whiskey Peak, and he's already on the boat, and like he runs away. Like he's a big coward, but then when it comes to protecting her from Mr. 2, he's not. When it really matters, he's not. But it's like, I love Karu. He dives into the river after Zoro, and he's like all frozen.
Oh yeah, yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah,
he
definitely for fishing bait at one point.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
Here's the little Tony Chopper.
Oh yeah.
And this is where he ends up. I don't know if I'm showing that right.
Yeah.
But this is where he like gets bigger and becomes like the beast or whatever. The other thing too, this scene here with the two of them. Yeah, Sanji. I thought that was cool. A lot of this is in 20 that I'm looking in right now, if anybody's curious.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I thought this was a blast overall. I mean, you get again so many characters, so many different introductions to characters that apparently might be a big deal down the road, as you mentioned. So I definitely need to go back.
I will tell you, there is at least one character that you would never guess. Well, never guess that later you will have a very strong emotional attachment to.
Okay. That
has been introduced in these books. And then, like, right now, you'd be like, what?
Yeah, okay. This is what Oda does. This is what Oda does, right? Though, like, he like Pell. I didn't think I'd like care for Pell, you know, or anything like that. And
He's
then
just a
here we
guy.
are. Yeah.
No,
I'm like,
no.
yeah, that's just a random dude. Let him sacrifice himself. But oh no, let me give you the backstory. Like, oh shoot,
No.
like don't go, don't do it, Pell.
No.
Yeah. No, it's a lot of fun. I definitely we'll have to do something like this again because
Yeah.
I mean, just to talk about this stuff, you know, like
Well,
I said,
obviously, I'm
yeah.
rereading as we go, and I don't know that I'll keep. You'll probably get ahead of me a little bit, but I've
Right.
read to the end. I've
Yeah,
read
you'll remember it.
so I read my original run all the way up, so I got caught up, and I've been reading the issues as they come out since like
Yeah.
'06, and
How,
then there is at one point eventually you'll get to a time skip. Um,
oh, okay.
And when that happened, I did a complete reread of everything up to the time skip. But that's been 12 years, 10 years ago now, 10, 12
wow.
years ago now.
Yeah.
And I hadn't done a full reread since then. And I haven't done a reread of anything that's happened like since the time skip. Time skip's around like 600, like issue 600. So
Okay.
like,
I got a while.
yeah, you got a ways till you get there. But so yeah, so I'm doing like my plan is to read through the whole thing. So eventually, yeah, I'll try to. We'll see. You might get. My guess is you're going to get into it at some point and like get well ahead of me.
Yeah,
but I know all of it. It's just
there's no surprise. Right. Yeah. No,
I'm happy to talk about One Piece anytime. I love.
Yes, I will definitely take you up on that again for sure.
Overall, like as an arc, what are your big takeaways? Like, is there a big thing in terms of characters? Who are your favorite characters at this point in the story? Who do you love? Who are like the people that both amongst the Straw Hats and then outside of the obvious, you know?
Oh yeah, like new and old
Yeah.
old, or not old, but like the original. Yeah, I mean, obviously Luffy is like he's gonna be my number one like every time. Just his attitude on life, like I just connect with the character and love everything about him. Uh like I mean, Nami's been another one that has come around to me more and more as I've read more of her character. I feel like she was definitely a bit more on the colder, sketchier side in the
Yeah,
first.
but we found out why. Yes.
Well, we find out why. Right. So, like,
I
you know,
love the moment in the couple moments in the end of this when they're riding away on the ducks and everybody thinks she's upset because they're leaving Vivi and she's like, I left the money.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's so great. Oh yeah, there was another scene where she's like, what was I forget now? I forget the context. They were making a deal, or they were going to do something basically for free, and she's like, no, like what? Or like she's like, it's worth money, or it's charged money. Like I forget what it was. I don't know if it was towards the end of this one or what the context of that was. But anyways, yeah, I like that she has that side to her, that she's like, you know, kind of has the money first. I mean, again, Tony Chopper wanna see more of what he can do, but I think he's already played a really big role in a lot of that stuff. So I was just excited to get to him, and now I want to see, you know, how he's used, you know, moving forward.
I still don't know how they're going to pull him off live action.
Like, yeah, that's a good point.
I don't know how they're going to do it.
Like I'm curious, even anime wise, I want to see, you know, like how that looks in action, him changing, him, you know.
Totally. I mean, it's
switching up. Because all I can pick, all I see is like just from the panel to panel stuff. But like, and then who's the other one? I mean, Croc was awesome. I think, you know, and I hope, you know, if we see him again or at some point in some other fashion, him and even just some of the other Baroque Works characters, you know, as weird as they were, I know like Mr. 3, Mr. 2, like those guys are just, I mean, as wacky as they were, I kind of want to see more of them and see what happens with them. But they, you know, just the power that they have was really cool. Tashigi Smoker, like that's ongoing. I know I want to see more of where that goes. And what was the other one? Oh, I mean, Vivi, obviously we talked about earlier. She was just such a likable character, and you know, everything she believed in. So yeah, I mean, we'll see. The brother. The brother.
Everybody.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Yeah, gotta learn more about the brother as well here. But yeah, no, good times. I'm gonna read onward, and we'll see. We'll have to plan another time to chat at some point
Yeah,
here as we
definitely.
go along. Maybe a little sooner than a 12-ish volume story arc or
I'm
something.
gonna, let me, next up is Skypea. How long is Skypea?
Yeah, I was gonna say, is it?
Skypea is 24 to 31.
Okay. Oh yeah, 24 to 31.
Yeah.
Because then this goes to 46. Okay.
Yeah. And then Water 7 / Enos Lobby is 32 to 45.
Okay.
So.
Oh, you know what I wanted to mention, JP, was I had to, and I can't remember the name of it. I love that they're at in Alabasta, or one of the sections of Alabasta has a casino in it.
Yeah. Rain base. Yeah.
Yeah, rain base.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this. I got to check this place out. That was great. That was fun. So yeah. All right. Yeah. Anything else that you wanted to mention here?
This was fun. So
yeah. Thanks again for chiming in and jumping in here. Anybody that was hanging out with us here live, or if you're catching the replay, leave a comment in the comment section. Let me know what you think of One Piece. If you're enjoying it, make sure you're following this guy over here, JP. I put his YouTube link in the description below for all good comic book and breakdowns. And oh yeah, you did as a side note, where is it? Oh my god, I have such a mess right now.
you are a mess. Yes,
I am a mess. I don't know where I put the book. I just bought my Zap comic store. My LCS just had they have their blowout sale they have every year, and all hardcovers and soft covers were 50% off, and I got the full compendium of Black Science, which I know you're breaking.
Oh, you'd already read that though, right?
I had read most of it. I'd never finished it. I meant to. I forget why. Like we had a group going, and we kind of got caught up in other things and never got back to like doing more of it. But I need to get back. I know what are you guys on, like volume 5 or something like that?
We'll do volume 5. We're going to discuss next Wednesday.
Oh, okay, there you go. So I need to maybe I'll chime back in on that too because I want to get back into reading some of that and finish.
So, yeah, we discussed volume 4 yesterday. So, you just froze, or maybe I froze. One of us is froze. I think it's Justin. I think I might still be here, so I might have to hang out for a little bit until I can end the stream. Yeah, I think he's gone. I don't know if anybody's still with us or not, but because we just rambled. So if you enjoyed the live action, dive in One Piece. I would recommend the manga. The anime is also really, really good. I hear him. There, he's moving. He's not frozen.
All I hear is like, oh, you're like, oh, I'm gonna have to stay until.
Well, I was trying to think of what I was gonna talk about. You got back.
All right, before I freeze up anymore here, man, we were doing so good. I'm gonna wrap this up. So appreciate everybody. Thanks for watching. If you want to talk One Piece, reach out to me over on Instagram. Smash that like button on the way out. Until next time, we will talk to you later.